All right, folks, good afternoon and welcome on back here this Wednesday, June 30th, end of the pay period. Great to see all of us live inside Cyber Group. Gregory, who's commenting on the VTNR trade as we speak. Kathleen, Bonnie, Ray, Norman, Kevin, Stefan, Robert, all of our students and trial members alike inside our live trading room Cyber Group, and alongside them, all of us on social media, Facebook Live and YouTube. Actually, I'll say it. No Facebook Live today, just YouTube. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard, but I guess they have some issue. But for all of us on YouTube, welcome on back. So we have Fausto's Phase 3 course continuing today. That's his live trading session going into the market close. So, whereas we post our picks and make our call outs live inside our live trading room, well, Fausto is going to be trading them in class later on today. So for all of our gold, platinum, diamond, CTU students, you have access to that class. We'll post the link coming up for that very shortly from now. But with that in mind, we got to rip through our picks here, go across the gainers and losers list really quick just to kind of build up our watch list before Fausto begins class. So, for any of the big moves that we ended up catching from earlier today, I'll quickly go over them as we find them. Number 2, for instance, CUEN. You can see all of my lines still up on this screen right now. Actually, bear with me for a quick second because that probably looks really annoying. So I'm going to clear that out for the meantime, but you could see at least across the day today, the CUEN trade ended up building up beautifully going into the market open. I don't know how much percentage wise it was up right at 9:30. It was up enough for me to say at the market open at 9:30, I'm expecting a pullback for a stock that was up, more than the 161% it is currently up. I would expect a big pullback profit taking right away at the market open, and that's what exactly happened. Now, the thing is that you hope to see support build after. You hope to see, more buying for a slingshot, perhaps. And God bless, we ended up seeing that. It ended up bouncing roughly off of like 730-ish and held off 750 ultimately to make the squeeze up practically to 9, above 9. But this thing's been through the spin cycle today. I like to say that for a stock that's been moving up, down, and then back up later on today, you can't keep expecting a stock to just break out higher and higher later on once the volume dies off. With that in mind, well, this ended up dropping off towards 680 and bounced from there, a strong level I was watching from pre-market here right before the open. When it ended up making this crazy shake, I ended up taking a 20-cent hit. I took a 20-cent loss here. I jumped in from 815. It was a big level. And at the time, I thought I was in the clear. This thing popped up so fast, and I was preparing to sell. Well, the stupid thing came right back down and shook me out. I got stopped out for an 18-cent loss, 19-cent loss, I think even, but ended up dropping all the way down lower, as you could see. I stopped watching it from that point, at least, for a little while. And then up until now, a little bit after 2 o'clock, we ended up seeing this stock begin to build a higher low, move back up. So for what it's worth, this CUEN trade, it's reminiscent of MRIN. It's reminiscent of the, BSQR trade from yesterday, PBTS, if I got that right. All of these stocks from this past week, low float, relatively speaking, trading way more volume than what it typically does on a day-to-day basis. Is it likely to see this stock break higher? I don't know if likely is the right word, but I think just over the last couple of days with all of these runners that we've had, it's hard for me to not put this stock on our watch list so far, just more so given this move from 7. Built off 7 and we had the popping off of 7 again for just about 50 to 60 cents. So for right now, CUEN, I'll definitely put back on our watch list. All right, this BLIN, not as much right now, as you can kind of see. Ended up popping after the open, made the slingshot from 5, got halted, I think, like 2 times on the way up. Once, twice. I don't know if this is a halt on the way down. I don't think it is. But as you could see, though, once the selling volume came in, support broke. It took a little while, but this thing dumped off quite a bit. So I don't know. The CUEN still has some signs of life left to it, it seems, and this BLIN, not as much. All right. Fausto was calling out this WEI stock from earlier today. It was more so in his first in the morning, the phase 3 course. He had called this out off the pot from 190, essentially from there, and got in. So I know that he did really well on this trade with most of us from the Cyber Group room right now. Ended up making a nice rally going into the early afternoon, as you could see. Broke above resistance roughly off of 225, moved up towards the high of the day, 275. Clean 50-cent move. Right now, it just built a little bit of a lower high in comparison to that HOD, and it's on the way back down now, seemingly towards 225. 225. It didn't really test that price yet as support, kind of bounced off 230 here. I feel like this is more likely to break down lower at this stage. If it ends up making some wacky move by the time I finish this meeting, then let me know, but I feel like we're going to move on. All right, talk about tongue twister stocks for anyone that suffers from trader's dyslexia like myself. Then I know that you were pulling your hair out here between BRQS, number 7 on the gainers list, and BSQR, number 2 on the losers list. I mean, the same letters just jumbled up, ever so slightly. But this was the former runner from yesterday. It's on the losers list today. BRQS was more of a pre-market move, I think. Ended up, showing a big pop early in pre-market, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, really early. Ended up dumping off towards a low of the day off of 120-ish, and I don't know. It was moving up just before hit the high of the day. Not the pre-market highs, but high off the regular session, roughly off of 147, and toppled off from there. So, if it was closer to the highs at this time of the day, or at least if it didn't dump off just like it did, I don't know. Maybe I'd put it on our list. We'll see what else we got though. ASTS, another pick from this morning, ran up early in pre-market, as you could see, ended up popping out the gate. I would have expected the pullback, so here's our pullback after, and then fortunately for this trade, at least, thankfully this didn't get crushed and come all the way down. It ended up making a new run from that point, so re-broke above 13, ended up running up towards the high of the day over 15, if I'm not mistaken, like 1545 here. Yeah. So for right now, again, lower highs, coiling up. Maybe it pops, maybe it doesn't. I'm not too interested in maybes. We'll see what else we got. I mean, practically every pick that we call out is a maybe, right? We don't have a crystal ball, but in terms of direction, that one seemed to have been dropping off a bit more. So little apples to oranges there. VTNR, Gregory R. I hope he hit it big on this trade. He was talking about this just before, and I was watching this earlier, much earlier in the afternoon off of 1280. I jumped in from 1280. I got like 13 or 12 cents on a half-size position. It really wasn't much. I stepped away from my desk, a little bit earlier, waiting for this type of move, and I missed it. So ended up making the slingshot from 13, pushed up nicely for over $1. Let's see if Gregory ended up getting it on this trade. I know he was commenting all about this, saying there was a decent sized seller at 1340, just got taken out and it ran. That was at 225 Eastern. Then he said it just made a slingshot through 14 before we started. So, hey, Greg, I hope that you're in this trade, or I hope that you were in the trade and got out off that 14. But yeah, given the run so far, I'll at least come back to this at the end. I think that we have more stocks on my proverbial side list than we do on the main watch list, but I like to be picky and choosy here at this point. All right, NEGG. I don't know. Popped earlier, looked all right, but came back down rather fast. So, this one looks pretty interesting. It did pull back down quite a bit off that spike to the high of 240, but HUSA, popped right as we started this meeting. So I don't know. Just curious. For the meantime, we have class coming up. So I just want to make this fast, but HUSA, no news on it. Zero news. It's a low float stock, has about 9 million shares in its float, says Benzinga Pro. Hey, we don't need news to trade a stock, but you'd like to have some sort of catalyst. Either way, we'll look to see the stock build a higher low, I'm assuming off of 2, and we'll hopefully see it make the bounce from there. But yeah, HUSA, I'll put on our main list for right now. XELB, I guess that was at the highs, actually. I'll come back to that later on. OCUP ended up making a bit of a pop, not just there, I'd say here. This was the bigger pop that we caught off the low of the day, bounced roughly from 5, ended up, or 520-ish, and popped right off of 575 here. I thought it would have given us a lot more, but perhaps that can come later on today. Again, another stock. Maybe I'll come back to at the end, just kind of cherry pick all these stocks that are like kind of maybes for me so far and see which one looks like the absolute best. So far, really, out of the 18 stocks or so I've ran through on the gainer side, the only 2 that I'm like really jumpy towards are the 2 on our list, the CUEN and the, recently popping HUSA trade. Dare from earlier today. That was a nice trade, but not a whole lot going on now. All right, we'll keep it going across the gainers end here, folks. Just looking for some familiar names. MOXC, I saw breaking HOD earlier today, and You could say it's at the highs right now. It's still kind of close to there. It's got such a spread out thin order book. So just looking at what this stock did back like 2 weeks ago, or maybe in the beginning of June rather, but ended up running all the way up from 6 to like 22, 23, that is. But what goes up comes back down twice as fast. That's the scare on low float stocks like the MOXC. You know what? I'll put it on our list for right now more as a level 4 to 5 stock for any of our more advanced students here. I say this, just full-fledgingly telling you, I'm probably not going to trade this myself. I like to just follow stocks that you can get a better grip on, right? So if anyone's trying to play the game and just try and trade a couple shares, or rather for any of our more level 5 students, perhaps you try and jump in on this. BBBY seems to be still fairly active right now, bouncing from 32 up to 33 and change. Ended up making a big pump from earlier. This is the second win type of move that you're getting. Maybe it runs up a little bit more. Oh, no, wrong stock. I'm sorry. I was thinking about Verb, VERB, not VERV, but not a whole lot happening here either, right? Check out BTU fast. Then we'll hop over to the losers list. BTU, at least, and as you can see, still at the highs, but ended up making a really nice run for us earlier today. Ran from roughly 7 off the slingshot, broke under and over that level, ran up towards roughly 780-ish, and there now, of course. So it's a stock we are familiar with, BTU. It's not the fastest mover, but still looking really strong at this point in the afternoon here. All right, jumping back to VTNR really quickly. I want to give him the shout. Gregory R commented on that trade. Michael picked up 25 cents on a short, but Gregory ended up getting in from 1330 out at 1398. Really good trade from Gregory R. He says, thanks to David A., one of our students live inside the trading room, for that call out. Excellent job, Gregory. Nice call out from David. You'd like to work together as a team there, right? Beautiful. All right, quick water break. Let's hop over to the losers list, though. Otherwise, BSQR down big from yesterday's run up. For as much as it ran up, when's it going to bounce, or when's it going to drop and bounce from there? So as you can see, it ended up building a bit of a support, a little bit above 5, and dropped lower later on. So maybe tomorrow we'll catch back in on that stock, BSQR, not to be confused with BRQS. ALT, for as much down as this was, no surprise to see a small short-term, squeeze to begin the morning here, pop from like 1030-ish, 1040-ish up towards, just about a buck. 1150 topped off underneath from that price and came back down pretty hard. You know what? The stock actually is shortable on my end, at least. If it's shortable for you, the stock's at the low of the day right now. I find that to be pretty interesting. So, you know what? ALT we'll put on our list if it could break lower. But if the shorts continue to cover, or rather if they, once again cover, perhaps you'll see another short-term squeeze up like we had at the open. All right, so either way, we'll put that ALT on our watch list. See what else we got. Just going down the rest of the losers list here, folks. There's actually a lot that's down percentage-wise. Market's pretty flat today, barely up, but gotta say it, just looking at the loser side, got a lot of stocks that are down like 8.5% or more. VBIV from yesterday, it's at the lows but flat. MDWD, it's shortable but kind of flat. And that just about wraps it up, folks. I don't know. I think that's all I got from my end. I would have put Tilray on our watch list, but that is just watching the grass grow. We had 2 really big spikes of volume on that trade. So I'll tell you right now, I'm actually in from 18 as we speak. I don't have a stop set, but I probably should be getting out pretty soon with lower highs, likely to break lower, but 18 was a nice support. VWAP off 1789 is going to be strong. I don't know. This stock, for as much volume as we had popped into this trade, I know there is some rumor or news about the federal pop bill for July. That's the reason why this got the pop. But nonetheless, I don't know. I feel like I'll just jump out of this trade really soon. We'll keep this on our side list. All right, so let me just check in really quickly on YouTube. No Facebook today, but on YouTube. I got nothing here on the chat. Hopefully the stream is working on YouTube. That would be a shame if I'm talking to nobody there. I think that we're all good, though, otherwise on the stream. If there's any stocks that you folks would want me to look at, let me know. I actually see a bunch of us on YouTube today. So outside of that, for all of us live inside the trading room, Michael, David, Brian, Bonnie, let me know if there's any other stocks up, down, left, right, more than 5% you would want me to check out or look at here. guess I said I'd come back to that VTNR at the end. A few stocks that I, put on that quote unquote side list. Just check them out pretty quick. VTNR, given that spike, I feel a little compelled to put this on our watch list. But at the same time, though, if it ends up beginning to make a false pop and come back down, it wouldn't shock me to see this come all the way back down at 13. Yeah, the CUN's already on our watch list there. All right, folks, I think that just about wraps things up at least. I'll show my Bitcoin chart tomorrow. Ended up seeing a really tiny drop off, very negligible, if anything, not a whole lot really happening. Actually, if anything, maybe crypto's going up right now. Who knows? Because you got Riot at the high of the day, actually. Mara at the high of the day running right now, or maybe kind of a power walk. But, I think right now with the way some of these stocks are looking, actually at the end here, Riot, perhaps I'd put this on our main watch list. It's not up or down anything percentage-wise, but it's at the high of the day. So that part interests me, and it's a familiar name. David A. here at the end, he's just asking, hey, PBTS doesn't have much room for a short, does it? Technically, it does. Technically, it's got just about $2.07. No, but really, though, perhaps 2 could be a nice base. It's been moving so slow. That's my only gripe on it, David. Like, to see it drop down to 2, then make a respectable bounce that you'd actually feel happy about taking the profit on. That's a lot to ask for, given the pace that this stock is moving at right now. So come tomorrow morning, I think that could be a nice play. I was looking at 240 on PBTS from earlier today, and that didn't really work out too well. All right, so that just about wraps it up now, folks. So in total, we got 2, 4, 6, 7 stocks to put on our watch list so far. Not too little, not too big. The shoe just fits, I like to say. Outside of this list, though, if there's anything else that pops or drops, makes a big move, at least for all of us live inside Cyber Group, you folks know that we'll to work together as a team, call it out when we see it, and try and capitalize at that moment. For all of us on social media, though, if you're interested in joining our live trading room, go right down to the link on the banner below. Just sign up for a quick small trial, a week-long trial inside our live trading room. You'll get to experience our call outs going into the market close today and across the next 5 trading days from that point. All right, aside from that, I look forward to speaking to all of us live inside the trading room coming on in just a little bit. I'll be back on the mic myself right around 3:30. I'll talk to you then.